The Barbary lion is more than just an extinct animal. It is a legend, a phantom that haunts the rugged landscapes of North Africa. Known scientifically as Panthera leo, this was the lion of Roman gladiators and the magnificent beast that once roamed from Morocco to Egypt. Its image is etched into human history, a symbol of supreme power and wild, untamable spirit. When we think of a lion, the image that often comes to mind, a powerful male with a vast dark mane flowing over his shoulders and down his chest, is the Barbary lion. It was the largest and most formidable of the lion subspecies, a true king of beasts, whose kingdom has long since vanished into the mists of time. This magnificent creature held a unique place in the natural world. It was an apex predator perfectly adapted to a challenging environment. Unlike its savanna-dwelling cousins, the Barbary lion navigated the forested slopes and cold, snowy peaks of the Atlas Mountains. This habitat shaped its very being, forcing it to become a solitary or small group hunter, a stark contrast to the large prides we see in eastern and southern Africa today. Its story is not just one of biological extinction. It is the tale of a landscape losing its soul, a powerful reminder of what can be lost when humanity's expansion goes unchecked, leaving behind only silence where a mighty roar once echoed. The legend of the Barbary lion persists, fueled by old photographs and dramatic historical accounts. These records paint a picture of an animal of immense size and fearsome beauty. Hunters and explorers from the 19th and early 20th centuries wrote with a mixture of awe and terror about their encounters with these lions. They described males of astonishing proportions, with thick, dark manes that provided insulation against the mountain cold. These stories, combined with the lion's prominent role in ancient cultures, have cemented its status as an icon of lost wilderness, a ghost that continues to captivate our collective imagination and drive a desperate search for its lingering essence. Today, the question of whether the Barbary lion is truly gone forever hangs in the air. While the last confirmed wild individual was shot in Morocco in the 1920s, its genetic legacy may not be entirely erased. For decades, royal menageries and zoos held lions that were believed to be descendants of the original Barbary stock. This possibility has ignited a spark of hope among conservationists and scientists. Could these captive animals hold the key to resurrecting a legend? The journey to answer this question is a complex one, weaving together history, genetics, and the profound ethical responsibilities of conservation in the 21st century. What made the Barbary lion so distinct? Its most striking feature was its immense dark mane. This was not just a fringe around the head, it was a magnificent cloak of long black or dark brown hair that extended from the crown, across the shoulders, and down along the belly. This impressive feature was likely an adaptation to the colder, more temperate climate of the Atlas and Rif Mountains. Unlike the scorching savannas, North Africa's highlands could be harsh and unforgiving, and a thick mane would have offered crucial insulation. It also served as a powerful visual signal of a male's fitness and strength, a formidable display to rivals, and a captivating sight for potential mates in the dense forested terrain. Morphologically, the Barbary lion was a powerhouse. Historical accounts and surviving skeletons suggest it was one of the largest lion subspecies to have ever lived. Males were reported to reach lengths of over 3 meters and weigh well over 200 kilograms. Their build was robust and powerful, suited for taking down the large prey animals that inhabited their mountain home, such as Barbary stag and wild boar. This size and strength were necessary for survival, in a habitat where prey was less abundant than on the open plains, requiring a predator capable of powerful, decisive attacks rather than long, cooperative chases. They were the undisputed sovereigns of their domain. The social structure of these lions also set them apart from their relatives on the savanna. The classic image of a large, bustling lion pride was not the norm for the Barbary lion. The challenging terrain and scattered prey base of the Atlas Mountains likely supported a more solitary existence or life in very small family groups, perhaps consisting of a male, 1 or 2 females, and their cubs. This solitary nature is a fascinating example of behavioral plasticity in a species, showing how an animal adapts its social life to the specific ecological conditions it faces. Each lion had to be a self-sufficient hunter, a master of its own territory. Scientific analysis of museum specimens and potential descendants has started to unravel the genetic secrets of the Barbary lion. Early mitochondrial DNA studies suggested it was a distinct lineage, part of a northern group of lions that also included the Asiatic lion. More recent comprehensive genomic studies have refined this view, placing all modern lions under a single species, Panthera leo. However, these studies confirm that the Barbary lion, along with lions from West and Central Africa, belongs to a northern subspecies, Panthera leo. This genetic uniqueness underscores its importance and makes the prospect of its survival, even in a diluted form, a matter of significant conservation interest. The story of the Barbary lion is deeply intertwined with the rise and fall of human empires. For the ancient Romans, this magnificent beast was not a creature to be revered in the wild, but a commodity for brutal entertainment. The expansion of the Roman Empire into North Africa opened a direct supply line for capturing these lions. Thousands were trapped, caged, and shipped across the Mediterranean to be slaughtered in the grand arenas of Rome, like the Colosseum. These bloody spectacles, known as venaciones or wild animal hunts, pitted lions against gladiators, condemned criminals, and other exotic beasts. This relentless harvesting for the games marked the first major blow to the Barbary lion population, a systematic eradication for the sake of public amusement. Even before the Romans, the Barbary lion held a powerful place in the cultures of North Africa. Ancient Egyptians revered the lion as a symbol of divinity and royalty, associating it with gods like Sekhmet, the lioness-headed goddess of war. Pharaohs themselves were often depicted as lions, a testament to the animal's perceived strength and authority. However, this reverence did not always translate to protection. Egyptian rulers also hunted lions as a display of their own power and courage, a royal sport that further contributed to the pressure on local lion populations along the Nile. This complex relationship of worship and persecution has been a recurring theme in the lion's long history with humanity. As centuries passed, the pressures on the Barbary lion only intensified. Following the decline of the Roman Empire, the Arab conquest of North Africa brought new dynamics. The proliferation of firearms from the Ottoman Empire onwards dramatically shifted the balance of power between humans and lions. What was once a dangerous and respectful hunt became a much easier and more devastating affair. Lions were increasingly seen as a threat to livestock and human settlements, which were expanding ever deeper into the lion's mountain refuges. Bounty hunting became common, further accelerating the species' decline and pushing the remaining populations into smaller and more isolated pockets of wilderness. The final chapter of the Barbary lion's existence in the wild was written during the colonial era. European settlement in Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco in the 19th and 20th centuries delivered the coup de grace. Colonial administrators and settlers waged systematic extermination campaigns, viewing the lions as vermin and an obstacle to progress. Deforestation for agriculture and logging destroyed their habitat, while sport hunting by European officers became a fashionable pastime. The last wild Barbary lion was likely shot in the Moroccan Atlas Mountains in 1922, though unconfirmed sightings persisted for a few more decades. Its roar finally fell silent, a casualty of centuries of persecution and habitat loss. The official extinction of the Barbary lion in the wild is, honestly, a somber milestone in the history of conservation. The last documented shooting of a Barbary lion occurred in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco in 1922, a definitive moment that marked the end of an era. For decades that followed, rumors and unconfirmed sightings occasionally surfaced, whispers of a phantom cat still roaming the most remote mountain passes. Reports from Algeria suggested some may have survived into the 1940s or even later, but none were ever substantiated. The wilderness of North Africa had lost its apex predator, and the ecological silence left behind was, well, profound. The extinction was not a sudden event, but the final act in a long, slow tragedy driven by human actions. However, the story did not entirely end there. A glimmer of hope survived behind the gilded bars of a royal menagerie. For centuries, the rulers of Morocco had maintained a collection of wild animals, and their lions were often gifts from Berber tribes captured in the Atlas Mountains. These royal lions were kept as symbols of power and prestige. When the monarchy faced instability in the mid-20th century, this unique collection of animals was eventually transferred to what is now the Rabat Zoo. It was long believed that these lions were pure descendants of the wild Barbary lions, a living link to a lost world. Their impressive size and magnificent dark manes certainly matched the historical descriptions. This collection of lions in Rabat became the cornerstone of a global effort to preserve the Barbary lion's legacy. In the 1990s, scientists and conservationists began to take a serious interest in these animals. Genetic testing was initiated to determine just how Barbary these lions really were. Early DNA analysis using samples from museum specimens as a baseline provided tantalizing clues. While it became clear that no truly pure Barbary lion survived, many of the lions in the Rabat collection and their descendants, now scattered in zoos across Europe and the world, showed strong genetic markers linked to the original North African population. They were not perfect replicas, but they were the closest thing we had. Armed with this knowledge, international breeding programs were established. The goal was no longer to find a pure Barbary lion but to selectively breed individuals that exhibited the strongest genetic and morphological traits of the ancestral stock. This initiative, often referred to as the Barbary Lion Project, aims to consolidate the Barbary heritage present in these captive animals. By carefully managing the gene pool, conservationists hope to breed lions that are, generation by generation, closer to the magnificent animals that once roamed the Atlas Mountains. It is a complex and ambitious endeavor, an attempt to pull a legendary creature back from the brink of total oblivion, using the faint genetic echoes it left behind. The ultimate dream for many involved in the Barbary lion conservation effort is reintroduction. The idea of seeing these magnificent animals once again stalking the forested slopes of the Atlas Mountains is, honestly, a powerful and inspiring vision. However, the path to reintroduction is fraught with immense challenges. The first and most significant hurdle is the habitat itself. The North African wilderness of today is not the same as it was a century ago. Deforestation, agricultural expansion, and growing human populations have fragmented the landscape, reducing the available territory for a large predator. A successful reintroduction would require the restoration of vast, connected ecosystems capable of supporting a viable lion population. Furthermore, the original prey base of the Barbary lion has been severely depleted. Animals like the Barbary stag are themselves endangered or locally extinct in many areas. Before lions could be returned, their food source would need to be re-established, a massive ecological undertaking in its own right. A successful reintroduction is not about releasing a few animals into the wild, it is about rebuilding an entire ecosystem. This requires long-term commitment, significant funding, and the political will of nations across North Africa. It is a project that would span generations, demanding patience and a deep understanding of ecological restoration on a grand scale. There are also critical social and ethical dimensions to consider. Reintroducing a large, dangerous predator into a region where it has been absent for a century would inevitably lead to human-wildlife conflict. Local communities, many of whom are pastoralists, would need to be engaged and supportive of the project. Their safety and livelihoods must be a top priority. This would involve creating compensation programs for livestock losses, developing effective conflict mitigation strategies, and fostering a culture of coexistence. Without the support of the people who would live alongside these lions, any reintroduction effort would be doomed to fail. It is a question of balancing conservation ambitions with human realities. Despite these formidable obstacles, the prospect of returning the Barbary lion to its ancestral home remains a potent symbol of hope for conservation. The ongoing captive breeding programs serve as a vital genetic reservoir, a living library of the Barbary lion's unique heritage. Even if reintroduction is not feasible in the near future, these programs prevent the complete disappearance of the Barbary phenotype. The story of the Barbary lion is a powerful lesson in the finality of extinction but also in the resilience of hope. It challenges us to think creatively and act boldly, not only to save what is left of our planet's biodiversity but perhaps one day to restore a piece of what has been lost.